Hi, how are you? Here we are at Built Not Bought by Bruce. Working on the Sportster wiring and the handlebars, and I went to put the controls back together on the bars, and I came across a couple things that I thought I should show you, share with you. Maybe somebody's going to have the same kind of issues, I don't know. When we took this apart, what I found was this area in the handlebar right around here had been wrapped with electrical tape, a fair amount of electrical tape. I found it odd and I thought, boy, what the heck is with that? And thought, I'll fix that up when I get to putting it back together. I thought maybe it was just somebody used screws that were too long or something like that. To put this back together, the first thing I wanted to do was get the clutch lever back in position. And taking the clutch lever, I have a mark here to show me where it goes. And I'll show you this, I've used some studs because I want to run pike nuts on this as well. Putting that on there, and this on here. Like that, and then putting my pike nuts on. And I'm putting the pike nuts on with a lock washer. These are 1/4 inch national course. No big deal. To make the studs, I just bought some threaded rod, or some guys might call it all thread. And cut off the appropriate lengths to make studs so that I could put these on. Now I will tell you too that what I did find was, sure enough, the whoever put this together before had screws in these housings that were too long, so they were bottoming out before this thing got tight. I believe that's part of the reason for the electrical tape. I don't think it's the whole reason. And I've got that just about in place. The problem I ran into trying to use the pike nuts is the housing is so tight to the pike nut. I think that's why Harley uses either a Torx or a hex drive socket head screw here. You can get the Allen wrench in, but there's no nice way to get a nut on here, or there didn't appear to be. I took a look at it and I thought, okay, I really want those pike nuts on there, and tried a wrench. Wasn't really happy with the results. It's very awkward and you can't really get much torque on it. The wrench keeps bumping into the housing. You get very limited swing on it. I tried a socket. I didn't have a socket that was thin wall enough. I went to Canadian Tire, which for our friends in the US, maybe Harbor Freight, something like that, a general hardware store that has an inexpensive line of tools. And I bought a 1/4 inch drive 7/16 deep socket and took it to my belt grinder. Now, if you have a lathe at home, good for you, that'd be cool. You could turn this down nicely, that'd be really good. But I just took it to the belt grinder, ground it down, kept checking it, and got it thin enough that it will fit in the housing on the nut and allow me to tighten up the nut. So I've got a mark here, and I'm just trying to compare it to the other side. That's probably close there, close enough for what we're doing here right now. And this has allowed me to get in there and tighten up these pike nuts. As I said, I'm running lock washers under them, so I think that's going to be fine. Even though I've ground this socket down, there's enough wall there. This isn't big torque stuff. This is just fine for tightening these up. That worked out pretty well. That's allowing me to stick with my pike nut theme on this bike and use them wherever I can. On this side, it's kind of nice. You can slide the switch housings up against the clutch lever housing. It actually has part of this lever assembly locks into a groove on the back of the housing. So the housing can't rotate on the handlebar. But here was the problem I ran into, and another reason that there was a bunch of electrical tape on here. These bars are not Harley-Davidson. I don't know off the top of my head what a standard Sportster bar looks like in this area, but these have an indentation for the wires, which is nice. Keeps them tucked out of the way and everything. So there's an indentation in the bar and a hole drilled in it for the wiring to go through the handlebars. Awesome, no problem there. But the stock Harley housings appear to, they need a little bit different shape to the bar. So perhaps this, and hopefully you can still see me there, perhaps this, with the indent on the bar, the round part doesn't go far enough around for the housings to grip on it. Anyway, it wasn't working out. When I put it on here, it was loose. It would have been rattly. It wasn't very nice. It couldn't rotate because of the clutch lever housing, but it just wasn't very nice. Like I say, rattling around and stuff wasn't going to be good. I didn't want to wrap this with electrical tape again. I thought, that's not a really cool way of doing that. And I thought if I just had a piece of rubber that was slit down the side that I could put on the edge of the housing, then that would tighten up on the bar. Again, I'm not trying to keep it from rotating, but just to keep it from rattling and stuff. I went to the local hobby shop, and this is fuel line for nitro for remote controlled cars and trucks. The reason I went with the stuff for nitro is it's a little bit thicker wall, and it's a silicone base. It's really nice and soft. It's pretty cool stuff. So what I did, I cut the appropriate length I needed. Then I went over and put it in the vise and squished it in the vise, not totally tight, not to take the gap totally away in the center, but just enough to hold it in place. Then took an X-Acto knife and very carefully put a slit down this green hose. The result is I now have, as I'm hoping you can see, I have this green hose on here on the edge that meets the bar. And with that in place, I'm able to come around. So the top is good. I left a little extra length at the back here just to engage the bottom housing. And it takes a little bit of work. You got to get it just right here. Glasses aren't helping right now. And there we go. Those are tightened up now. And the nice thing here is the clutch lever, mounted solid, got my pike nuts, housing with the nice chrome switch covers, dress it up rather than those old black ones that were half worn out anyway. You couldn't even read some of the stuff on them. And with that tubing in there, it doesn't rotate because of this, but there's no slop. So now there's not going to be any rattling, any chatter. This is all going to fit together nice and tight. We've got our new wiring run. I'm going to be working on the Moto Gadget and the digital guard dog here. I'll show you a whole bunch there real soon. Had to figure out some wiring, but I think we got her nailed. I'll be back to you soon. Thanks for watching.